All right. Thanks, Achyuth, as I said, for joining. And you can introduce yourself now and get started.
Right, thanks, though. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to join your meetup. And so I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Achyuth, and I'm from Trivandrum, Kerala. I'm currently working as a code wrangler for Automattic, mostly working on WP payments. So I'm not an expert on WP-CLI, but I have contributed to it a bit to it, and I'm happy to share my knowledge on it. So since I heard that WP-Chennai community is mostly mixed, not too many developers, comprises of users, agencies, and developers. So I decided to start low. So this would be mostly a beginner session. I won't be going into automation and stuff. But I'm happy to do, I'm happy to show most of the commands in a demo session and a bit on installing as well. So I won't be covering installation in detail because it will take some time and the time we have is limited. So I'll just give a demo on the basic installation, mostly the tool I'm using. And I'll give you a demo on most of the commands I'm planned for today. So I've decided to set up the session in multiple chapters. So those would be troubleshooting, handling content, handling users, a couple of stuff like that. So if you have any questions, you can leave them on chat and I'll answer at the end of the session.
So quickly, people, like if you have questions, you can leave them in the chat, in the Zoom chat, and then we will address them after the session.
All right, so shall I start?
Sure, the floor is all yours.
All right, let me share my screen now. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, we are able to see.
All right, so let's get started with WP-CLI. And what's WP-CLI? So WP-CLI is a command line interface for handling WordPress sites. So by command line interface, we say what's command line? Command line is basically a text-based interface we can use to communicate with the operating system. So for handling WordPress sites, WP-CLI provides a way by using the command line. So WP-CLI is present for more than 10 years now, and it's been actively maintained as part of WordPress ecosystem. And it was during 2003, it was maintained by Daniel Machuba, and now it's currently maintained by Alain Shelser. So it's currently part of the WordPress ecosystem, and so that's the basics of WP-CLI. Also, I would want to make a note that WP-CLI is mostly used for automation, but not only that, we can use it for maintenance tasks, managing our site as well. So I'm not covering the automation part. And also, I would like to make a note that this tool is a very good tool for productivity, and also it has a lot of destructive capabilities. So if you are not sure about using that, it could break your site as well. So make a note of that. So let's get started. So the installation part. So WP-CLI is basically a file archive. It's a PHP archive file which you can download from wpcli.org. Then the basic prerequisite is you should have some kind of web server and PHP installed. WP-CLI is very fast because it's directly run from PHP. It doesn't use doesn't use Apache or Nginx or anything. It just directly works from the installed PHP on your system. So the basic installation is you can download that file, then put it on the system path. Our system path is where it's directly accessible by the system. So Suppose you have a file named XYZ, and if you put that file inside the system path, you can call it directly without accessing that particular folder. So that's system path. So you can download WP-CLI far file, then put it on the system path to get it working. And so I'm not be able to cover the installation part for Windows, Mac, or Linux because that would take some time for me to get it. So instead, I'll show you the tool I'm using. So my personal favorite is WP Local Docker, which is developed by Chennai. So it has all the tools required to set up a development environment. Also, it has the option to install WordPress by default. You can set up a single site, you can set up a multi-site, or you can start from scratch without any files at all. So I'll show you how I'm using it. So it also has WP-CLI pre-installed, so I don't need to do any configuration. So the prerequisite for installing the Tenant Docker is you need to have Docker Desktop installed, plus you need to have the latest version of Node.js. So I'm happy to say that this tool, Tenant Docker, actually works seamlessly across Windows, Mac, and Linux. So if you're on either of them, you can make use of this. It's also free as well. So I'll just share my the tool I'm using. So Tenant Docker is mostly command line. It doesn't have any graphical user interface, so it's mostly done by command line. So let me start up a new site from Tenant Docker so you can see that. So this is my command line, and I'm going to use Tenant Docker is already set up. So I'm just going to type Tenant Docker, and I'm going to use the create command.
Quickly, I think we are not able to see your command prompt.
All right, let's see. Okay, give me a moment. Can you see it now?
Actually, not yet. We are still able to see only the browser.
All right.
I think maybe like when you shared it, like you would have shared only the window, the browser window, I guess.
I guess so. Like you share.
You can stop sharing and then try to share
Okay.
the.
Can you see the terminal now?
Not yet.
All right, let me stop the sharing now and start again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can you see it now?
Yeah, we are able to see it now. Perfect.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah,
All right.
this is good.
All right. So, so I have already installed Tenant Docker. So I'm just going to create a new site. So the command is Tenant Docker create, and it will ask you a couple of questions. So what's the host name? So I'm going to say WPChennai test. Additional domains, no. Yes. I'm going to use the latest version of PHP. Elasticsearch, no. Do you want to install WordPress? So if you want, it will give you a couple of options like single site, multi-site. So I'm choosing not to install WordPress right now. So I'm gonna just no. Then it will create the interface and we can work on it. So just all right. Let's see. Yeah, site is created successfully. Now we can try and access it. Okay, so we are able to access it, but there are no files. So let's start with the next sections. So I'm currently planning to cover it by use cases. So let's start with the use cases. The first is install, update, or install or update WordPress core plugins and themes. So we have started a site without any files on it. Let's try and install a fresh copy of WordPress, and let's try how you can do that by WP-CLI. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So Tenant has a way to directly open the shell. So Tenant Docker shell. So WP-Chennai is my site, and it will open the shell for WP-Chennai. So currently, if I list files, you can see that there is nothing there. So I'm gonna use the command to download the WordPress core files. So that's WP. WP is the trigger for WP-CLI. So WP, then core and download. So WP is the trigger, core is the command, and download is the subcommand. That's how WP-CLI is a structure. So there is a command and there would be a subcommand, and there would be additional parameters, additional or optional parameters. So some of them are necessary, some of them are optional. So I'll come to that. So let's try and download WP course files. So for now, I'm using the optional parameter version to download an older version of WordPress core. So I'm going to go with 5.4.1. So this will download the older version of WordPress. So it's downloading WordPress now. It may take a couple of minutes based on my internet connection. All right, so WordPress is downloaded. So now you can see. So here there were no files previously. So once I have downloaded core files, it has all the files. So we can note that there is no wp-config.php file, just a sample config file here. So what you do is, so currently if you go to the browser window, if you go to the browser window and refresh, you will have the option to set up WordPress. So we are not going to do that by the browser. So we are going to do that by the command line. So first, since there is no config file present, we are going to create a new config file. So the command for that is wp-config and create. So there are a lot of options for most of the commands. If you are not sure about the options, what you can do is, after each command, just type in the help switch. So it will show the options. So wp-config create, and wp-config create, you need a DB name, DB user, DB password, and a host. Also there are, so you can see there are a couple of in square brackets, couple of options in square brackets there. So DB pass in square brackets, DB pass in square brackets. So all of them on the square brackets are optional ones. The others are required. So here see DB name, DB user, and DB pass is on square brackets. So that's not required at all, but you need to set it up if you want to connect to the database. So wp-config also, if you not sure about all the options, you can always use the global parameter, that's prompt. If you use prompt with any command, it will show an interactive version of the shell. So if I hit, so it will ask me what the DB name is. So I have set my database, so wp-CLI.test. All right. So wp-CLI.test, that's my database name, and the username I have set up is, see, okay, username is WP-CLI, and the password is, all right. So the host, for Tenant Docker, the host name is not localhost, it's MySQL. So I'm not going to specify any DB prefix, that's an optional parameter. So I'm going to skip all of them. So wp-config.php is generated. So let's see whether it's there. So now you can see wp-config.php is present. So the next thing is we can install WordPress using this config file. So WP core and install. So let's see what the options are. So for install, the required options are what's the URL, what's the title, and what's the username of the admin user. So the other options are optional except for admin email. So four options we need: URL, title, admin user, and admin email. So let's try WP core install. I'm going to use prompt now. So URL is http WP-Chennai.test. Then the site title. So admin user is, I'm gonna say WP-Chennai. I'm gonna leave the password blank since it's an optional field. It will be generated for us. So admin email WP-Chennai@wordpress.com. So it's a dummy email address. And it shows whether you want an email on the site creation. I'll leave it yes for now. So we can see that it's currently installed our WordPress site. So let's go to the browser and refresh. All right, so the site is ready, and we have the admin password here. So the shell shows the admin password. So we can actually log in here. Username and password. All right, so we are able to go back in. So also you can see that when the site was created, I have received a couple of mails from WordPress. All right. So the next step would be we have downloaded and installed WordPress. So the next thing is how to update the core version of WordPress. So as you notice that I have installed a previous version. So WP core, and let's see the available commands. So WP core check update will check for any update. It's already at the latest version. Yes, it's auto updated. All right. So if it's on a previous version, WP core update. Okay. So there is update. So if it's on a old version, it will directly update the WordPress core files. So that's getting started with the WordPress core, and let's see how we can handle plugins and themes. So the things we are going to cover is list of plugins, list of themes, how to update the current plugins and themes, or deactivate them, switching themes, deleting them, and searching on the WordPress repo for plugins. So let's start with listing existing plugins and your themes on your site. So WP, the next command is for plugins, it's plugin, that's the command, and list is the subcommand. So WP plugin list. So you can see that I have two inactive plugins, that Achyuth and Hello. Let's see the themes list. So WP, instead of plugin, we are going to use theme. So that's WP theme list. So currently we have 3, 2019, 2017, and 2020. So all these commands have a lot of optional arguments. So suppose I want to list the inactive themes. So WP theme list shows inactive and active. I can just pass the parameter. Just list the inactive ones. So we'll get only 2. So that's listing themes. And what we can do is how to install new plugin or a theme. So to install a new plugin, let's install Yoast SEO for testing. So WP plugin, if you want to deal with plugins, we go to plugin. Then the subcommand is install, and we are going to pass this slug. So the slug for Yoast SEO is WordPress SEO. What you can do is just hit enter and it will download the latest copy from WordPress repo. All right, the plugin is now installed. Let's see whether it's on the list. So once again, WP plugin and list. Yeah, WordPress SEO is installed, but it's inactive right now. So to activate a plugin, we can either pass an activate switch while we install it like this, like activate, or if you have already installed it, let's try WP plugin, then the subcommand would be activate. So WP plugin activate, then the slug WordPress SEO. So that would activate the Yoast SEO plugin. Similar for themes. So WP plugin, it's WP themes for theme, WP theme list. Okay, let's try and install one theme. So let's try searching for a theme from the WordPress repo. So WP-CLI has the option to search. So WP search, let me see, it's WP theme and search. So search for themes, and I want to get some themes related to news. So if I hit enter, it will give me about 10 results from WordPress repo, and let's see the top rated ones. So the WP theme install news ever. So that's the slug. So WP theme install news ever, and also I want to activate this theme, so I'm going to pass the activate switch. So it downloads the theme. All right, now we can refresh the site and see. Okay, WP. All right, so that was a problem with the case. So we can see that the theme has now changed to a different one. All right. So the next thing, we have already tried switching themes. We can actually deactivate existing plugins if you like. So WP plugin list. So we have WordPress SEO active. If you want to just to deactivate WordPress SEO WP plugin, then the subcommand is deactivate, then the slug WordPress SEO. So that's easy. Also, we can delete plugins or themes. So suppose we want to delete the WordPress SEO plugin. So suppose it's already active. WordPress SEO. So it's already active and you want to delete it. So WP plugin delete WordPress SEO. See, it will still delete the installed plugin. So what happens is when you go to the appearance and plugins, you can see that it's forced the plugin to delete, but the entry still exists in the database. But this message will go around on refresh because WordPress will remove the entry from the database. So first, if you are deleting an existing active plugin, then it will directly delete the files, so it doesn't change the database. So you need to be careful about that. So the best method would be to deactivate that plugin and then delete it. So suppose some plugins have maintenance tasks to be run when the plugin is deactivated. So once you do that, it will completely remove the plugin traces if it's configured to do so. So that's how we handle plugins. So we have already covered search as well. So just wanted to check that am I going too fast?
I think you're going in a proper phase. You can continue with the same speed, I guess.
Thank you. All right. So the next thing we can do with WP-CLI is how you can manage the content on your site. So by content, we can suggest posts, pages, media files, and comments. Those are the default content you have. I have not included comments here because, like, you don't want to approve comments by looking at the command line interface. You mostly do that by using the browser itself. But we can do a couple of things related to comments in a later chapter. So, so the first thing we can do is how to list your existing posts or pages. Then we can try creating a couple of them. Then we can try updating a couple of them, delete them, or we can try generating a few dummy content we can work on. So let's try with a couple of commands now related to post. So let's clear the screen. And for post, so let's try listing our post. So WP post list. All right, so we only have one post. So basically, WP post list returns post entries by default. So we have post and pages by default. It is post. So let's try if you want to. Let's see if you have any pages. So we can use the help parameter to see if there are any options for that. So post list. So here you can see that the display post based on all arguments supported by WP query. So WP query is a function which has a lot of parameters. We can use any parameter for that. So like WP post list, and we can say switch post type equals page. So currently we have two pages. One is trapped and one is published. So by default, it returns post, and if we add the extra parameter to list pages, it will show the details. That's post list. We got the post list and we got the pages list. So next, we can try creating a post. So post or a page, WP post create, and we can try help. So there are a lot of options. So the basics, let's see, most of them are optional. Let's try a prompt then. The prompt will help you to list all the details. Prompt. Okay, post order, we can leave that to default, which would be like post date is default. Post content, hello world. That's fine. Let's say welcome to Chennai. If you want an excerpt, you can give it here. And status is published. Post type is by default it is post, so I don't need to change anything. If I want this to be created as a page, we can say page here. Instead, it will go to post. So rest of the things we can leave. modify dates. All right, so we can see that it created a post in the name of 5. So let's go to the browser and check whether the post is created. So all post. All right, hello world is my post. Let's see, there should be 2 there, but it's not showing it. All right, I guess that's because of the user. Let's see. All right, let's say WP post list. All right.
I think there is a post status published and
Oh,
published.
it's published. Okay, I got it. So let's try and edit that one. WP post list post update. And we want to edit the post number 5. So we just keep the number WP post update. And we can actually say post status equals publish. All right, let's say WP post list again, and now it should show up. All right, yeah, it's there. So the title is there, and the content is already there. So that's how we create the post or pages. So it's the same method you can use to create a page as well. I just created a post. If you switch the parameter to page, then it will create a page for you. Let's see, and we can try the page. We have already tried updating some options. So like we have changed the status to publish. That's one way of updating it. If you want to change the title, then you can change the title as well. So suppose here I have updated the post status. Let's say we can update the title. Title is, so I'm gonna use codes for escaping. Just updated it, WP post list. We can see the title has changed. It's hello world again. So that's how you update post or page. Okay, let's now try deleting the post we have created. We can also delete the page. So WP post delete, and we can pass in the post ID. So that's 5. All right, so let's WP post list. All right, so our post is actually deleted. So it's done, and we can move on to the next one. So that's we can also, if you are working on any project and you need some dummy content to work on, what you can do is WP post generate, and I'll use the prompt option to get the details. So how many numbers I want? I just want to say I want to delete 5, create 5. Then what's the post type? And I want to create a post. And the status is, let's say, draft. And the post title, we can skip. It will create automatically. Post author, we can skip. And date, content, we can skip. All right. So it's created 5 posts for me. Let's see, WP post list. All right, you can see that there are 5 as draft. So that's how you can generate dummy content. Also, it is possible to chain multiple commands. So suppose you want to delete all the drafts, you can do it in one command like this, WP post delete. So the next parameter is the post IDs. So if you know the IDs, you can actually pass them here. If you don't, you just want to delete the draft post, what you can do is you can put a dollar symbol, then open a bracket. Then you can type the command WP post list, and the post type is by default it's post, and we want to return the IDs. So format equals IDs, and post status equals draft. So I just want to delete draft post, and I want to get all the IDs, and then I will pass those on to the WP post delete function. Let's try how it works out. All right, you can see that all my draft posts are now trashed. So it trashes it one by one. Now if I check WP post list, it will show only one. The rest of the draft posts I have created is now deleted. So the next section we are going to cover is media. So you can import local files or remote files as media files to your site, and we can also regenerate the thumbnails for them. So WP command is WP media. I have some files in the pictures directory, so I'm going to import the WP media, then import. So I'll just direct to my document pictures. All right. All right. Pictures. So slash. I'm gonna specify. I'm gonna just import all the files. So I'm just copying it paste from my directory. Or if I have the image name, let's see if I can find it. The image name is documents and pictures. So that's one of my pictures. Just copy the name. Unable to import file. File doesn't exist. Oh, okay. So what I'm doing it wrong is I'm actually inside the 10up shell. So it's virtualized interface. So it has no connection to my existing file system. But what we can do is we can exit now. 10up has another way to do that. So from here, I can say 10up docker help. All right, so 10up docker WP. All right, then we can WP media import. Slash pictures. All right, let's see whether it works. So it will ask for which site again, so if I should run it. Okay, picture slash, just pass in the file name. I guess that this doesn't work because it's inside the virtualized container and I might need to copy the file. So this is basically how it works. I haven't previously tested this. Can we skip this now?
Sure. I think it's just because of the connection between Docker and your local machine, I guess. Yeah, I think like we can move on, but I think we get the concept of how this can be done. I think
all right. So the next is user management. So basically, user management is how you can. So the points here are list existing users, create users, update users, or delete users. Also, we can create them dummy users as well. So I'm gonna go to shell again. I'm working inside Docker now. All right. So let's see the number of users we have on the WordPress site. WP user list. So we have only one. That's WPChennai. So let's try and create a user. So WP user. So user is the command, and create is a subcommand. So let's try and help. All right. So couple of options we need mandatory are the user login. user email. And let's see whether we have anything else. I guess that's it. So we need to specify two: user login and user email. Or we can also use WP user create and prompt. User login, and let's create mine. And my email address, and my role is administrator. I can skip the password, date, display name. These are all optional fields. Just whether or not WordPress should send me an email. I don't want an email, so I can hit no here. All right, so it gives me a password as well. So this is my password, WP user list. And you can see that I have added, it's added me as an administrator as well. So that's how you create a user. Also, you can update a user, WP user update. So let's pass in the user ID. So my user ID is 2, and we can update user email equals Achyuth@WPChennai.org. So let's say I am planning to change my user email. Let's see whether it's updated. WP user list. Yeah, you can see that my user email has updated. Also, I can change the role to a different one, like editor, contributor, or just any roles I can use. So we can next try. I'll just try and delete my user. So WP user delete. I can either pass the ID. I know the ID, so I just delete. WP user delete. So reassign parameter not passed. All associate posts will be deleted. So suppose you want to delete one user, but to maintain their content, just you need to pass the reassign parameter to a different ID. So suppose you want to delete Achyuth Ajoy, and you want the content to be retained by WPChennai. So I'm going to hit no here and delete 2 and reassign equals. Then the initial WPChennai's ID is 1. So I'm going to reassign WP user list. And now you can see that there is only one registered user. These tools are mostly useful for if you are handling, if you have multiple WordPress sites and you don't want to log into each of them to handle tasks. So suppose you get hacked and you have a list of a lot of users there, you can actually delete them, excluding yourself. So these are some kind of automations you can try. So all these tools, all these things I'm actually trying. This is not just for one site. If you have hundreds and thousands of sites and you have the way to automate it using WP-CLI, you can create a bash script or any shell script, then pass on the details, and it will run all the maintenance tasks you have specified, and it will return the results. So you can manage a lot of sites with simplicity. So that's the main purpose of WP-CLI. So there is also another option to create dummy users as well. So that's WP user and generate, and we can help. There are a lot of options, like we have generated post, WP user generate, and I can use prompt. So I want to delete, I want to create 2 users, and role is editor, and that's fine. Okay, WP user list. So you can see I have 2 users there, and like I have bulk deleted users and the bulk deleted post, I can also bulk delete users. So WP user delete, the next value I want to pass is the ID fields here. So instead, I don't know the ID field, so I just want to delete all the editors. So WP, I want to use the dollar parameter, open a bracket, and WP user list. Then role equals editor. I want to delete editors, and I just want to return the field ID. ID, and I want to reassign all post to user 1. Reassign equals 1. All right, so let's see. You can see that 2 users have been deleted. WP user list. All right, so we currently have only 1 user. So that's user management. And the next important part is troubleshooting. So you can use WP-CLI to troubleshoot a lot of stuff. So suppose suppose your site got hacked and some of the core files were infected, or some of them was removed. Suppose so I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete I'm gonna just delete WP. So it will crash the site. So we don't have a WP admin now. So WP. So now if we execute WP plugin list, so we can see that there is a critical error on your site. Suppose some of the core files are affected, then you want to install a fresh copy of WordPress without affecting your content. So that's WP core download, and let's see. Okay, so WP core download, and we want to force install over and overwrite all the existing files, but we want to skip our content. So we just pass skip content. All right, let's try. It's downloading the latest version now. All right, so we can check now WP admin is present, and if I run WP plugin this now, it should work. So its site is back online now. So the error has gone. So that's one way you can, like, this method you can use to fix core files. Also, so suppose you have a plugin or theme related problem. So let's modify CDWP content plugins. I'm going to modify one plugin. So hello.php. All right. And we start PI. Just gonna intentionally break this site. So that's okay. So now this check WP plugin list. Also, we can see hello is inactive. We're gonna just activate hello plugin. WP plugin activate hello. All right, we got a lot of errors here. So if we try WP plugin list now, all right, let's okay. I'm going to activate hello now. Then I will modify the file. Sorry. All right, I've made some modifications that will break the site. So now WP plugin list. All right, so there is a problem with the plugin. So what you can do is we can how to troubleshoot this. So if you are going to troubleshoot by the browser, you can see there is an error. So either you want to log in by FTP, or you use the cPanel or any other file manager, or any other control panels you have using, then go to the file manager, then identify the problem and remove it. So CLI provides an easy way. So there are some global parameters you can use. So suppose it's related to plugins, and what you can see is that this is related to plugins and it's related to the hello plugin. So we have the option to execute commands without loading this particular plugin or any plugins at all. So it's WP. Then the global parameter is skip plugins. This will load, this will skip all the plugins from loading, but your site will be loaded. So WP CLI commands can be executed. So WP skip plugins and then plugin list. I can see that we get the output. So we are just skipping the plugin. So suppose you don't know which plugin is causing this, and some kinds of errors might not provide an error log. So this kind of error log you can see here. This might not be present for some kind of errors. I have experienced some. So in that case, what you can do is you can skip plugins. You can skip plugins equals Akismet. So I just gonna try Akismet and plugin list. You can see the error is there, so it's not Akismet. And we can try equals hello. Okay, so now we get the list by skipping the hello plugin only. The rest of the plugins are getting loaded on the site. If you want to delete that particular plugin, then you can do that. The same method, WP skip plugins, plugin deactivate hello. So we are able to deactivate hello, and now if we refresh the site, we are back online. The same thing for themes as well. If it's going to a problem with themes, what you can do is you can skip instead of plugins, you can use skip themes. Then we can specify the theme name as well. Deactivate the theme name. So it's 2090. It should be already deactivated. For themes, there is no deactivation. I'm just gonna delete it. You need to change the theme to a different one. So in that case, if you have a problem with one theme, then what we can do is WP theme activate 2019. I currently have 2020 active. If you have problem with 2020, I'm just gonna switch the theme to 2019. So that should fix the problem, and you can delete the files later. So that's mostly troubleshooting. And also you can reinstall plugins or themes. So if the plugin or theme come from the WordPress repository, then you can provide the Slack name to reinstall it. So suppose we want to delete, so let's see WP plugin list, and we want to install a fresh copy of Akismet. So WP plugin install Akismet. This command would fail because Akismet is already there. So I want to install a fresh copy, so I'm just gonna force the installation. So I'll pass the switch. It will create a new version and then force update all the files. So that's how you can force install a plugin or thing. Also, it is possible to download. So if you have a zip file stored somewhere, that's a plugin you have developed, then you can use a URL to download that file as well. Suppose like this one. This is one URL. All right, let's copy this. And if I want to install a plugin from file WP plugin install, just passing the file name and it will download the file. Destination folder already exists, so I can force it. it will force install adjustment. So that's how we can troubleshoot stuff. Then there are DB backups and maintenance tasks. So it is possible for you to generate a copy of your database. You can export it, you can import it, you can optimize the database, and you can use search and replace. These are destructive functions. So make sure you have a copy of your database stored somewhere before attempting to do it. So if you just want to create a copy of your database, let's go to the root. And WP for databases, the command is database DB, and you can export it. It will export the database of the current site. So we can see that we currently have this file WP-CLI. That's WP-CLI test is the name of the site. This is the date on which it's generated, and this is a random string, random hash for others, so to protect from others. So if someone knows the name, they can download it. So this hash is present for so others can't guess the name of the file. So it's a default format. So you can also use the same file to restore the site. So that's WP DB import, and you can just specify this specific file name, and it will import that file. So based on the next thing is search and replace database. So you commonly use it for, suppose you change the domain name to something else, or you want to enable HTTPS, and some of the links are using HTTP. So we can just try using HTTPS. So here you can see that it's using HTTP, not HTTPS. I'm going to force it to use HTTPS now. So the command is WP search replace. So the first parameter is the old. So here it's the old domain, and here is the new domain. So the old domain is, I want to search for HTTP WPChennai .test. I'm just using quotes to avoid escaping, and then the new string is HTTPS WPChennai .test. We can also try a dry run, so it doesn't make any changes, but you can see where the changes are getting, where the changes will be made if you skip dry run. So here you can see there are 22 replacements to be made, and 17 of them are made under post and on the grid field. So grid is globally unique identifier, which is one value on WordPress that never changes. So whatever you do, do not try to override the grid field or make any changes to that. That's mostly because, so if your site have feed setup, RSS feeds, and you are using any program to read them, if you are changing the git field, the program, the feed reader you are using will pull up the old fields again, because it's basically uses the git field to mark whether you have read it or not. So if you rewrite the git field, a couple of problems can appear. So we can skip that field using search and replace. So if we use search and replace dry run, I'm going to use another switch. That's skip columns equals GUI. So we are also dry running this. So instead of previously we got 22 replacements, now we skip the git field. So we just need 5 replacements. So now I can skip the dry run, and it's already changed. So this is actually a destructive function if you actually make up the wrong change. So now it's HTTPS. Now if I go to WPChennai, all right, it's HTTPS. I don't have the local certificate stored, so it shows an error. So instead of, you can see, I am going to replace HTTPS back to HTTP. And just in case I skipped one word. All right. Now, if I test the site, it's loading actually from the cache WP. I'm not sure. Somehow this site is actually broken. So this, like I said, this is a destructive function. So since I have a backup copy of the database, I can easily restore it. And now I can see the site is back online again. So since, so if you are trying to make any change that's destructive, make sure to download a copy of your database. And that's DB tools. And one way to this DB optimizing database, it's good to optimize your database from time to time because transients and some of the options on your table make your database big. So optimize will clear most of the problems for you. So WP DB optimize. So some of the databases provides optimization features. So mine doesn't support optimization, so it doesn't work. But if yours does, it will work. And there are maintenance tasks which you can use WP-CLI for. So transients are mostly used for caching. Caching a specific amount of data for a smaller time period. That's transients are used for. If you want to delete transients regularly, what you can do is schedule a cron job or a shell script to run this command. That's WP transient delete. And I can either delete all of them or I can just delete the expired ones. So no expired transients found, or I can try all of them. All right, 5 transients were there on the database. I just deleted all of them. Those are cache files. So another maintenance task you can do. WordPress uses salt. So on the config file, you can see salt files. That's mostly used for data protection. So if you're hacked, it's the best method to replace them, or it is advised to regularly change them if you are doing like once in a month or once in a week. That doesn't do make any problems for your site. If you want to do that, the command is wp-config, which we have used to create the config file on the first session. So we can use the option shuffle salts. So that will create a new salt file on the WP config file. So we can do that. Also, let's try another thing you can use. Suppose you have a lot of spam comments there, which you can delete automatically by using automation. What you can do is a WP comment and then delete. Let's just try a list now just to see whether we have any comments.
Achyuth, quick time check. Like we are kind of.
Yeah, I just need 5 minutes.
Okay, awesome.
So what you can do is WP comment delete. This is not spam, but if it's a spam one, I just need to pass the ID of the spam. So just like before, dollar and dollar brackets and WP comment list and status equals spam. So I just want to delete status spam and I just want to pass the IDs. So that will delete. All right, so this command doesn't work because we don't have any spam comments. So if you have any spam comments, those ID will be passed along and it will be deleted. Also, just in case you want to put your site on maintenance mode, we mostly use some plugins like maintenance mode by SeedProd or any other plugins on the market. WP-CLI provides an easier way to put the site on maintenance mode. That's WP maintenance mode. let's check the status. It's not active. Let's activate it. Activate. All right, maintenance mode activated. And if we check the site now, we can see the message that it's under maintenance. So we can deactivate as well. Just type deactivate, WP maintenance mode deactivate. So third-party integrations. So some of the plugins like rebuild thumbnails, there are a couple of plugins on the market. They repo like rebuild thumbnails, Pocomas. Those add additional commands that you can work using CLI. I'm not going to specifically go into third-party integration. I just want to mention that it is possible to create a plugin yourself or use any plugins that support WP-CLI, and that will add additional commands to WP-CLI. And that's all I wanted to cover. It took some time because I just wanted to show in demo. I'm not sure whether my session was useful or not. But your comments are welcome. But
it was definitely helpful. Like, I can at least talk from my personal experience. Like, I've been using WP-CLI, I don't know, close to 7-8 years now, but I like personally learned a couple of new things, especially about troubleshooting, where you can skip themes and plugins. That's something that I didn't know about before. So we'll quickly go over the questions we have. So there's one person who asked about, like, when you're doing the troubleshooting, in case if there's a problem with establishing a connection with the database itself, right? So in that case, is it possible to do any troubleshooting using the technique that you used?
No. So like database connection is required for rest of the functions, like getting the plugins or themes list is based on database queries. So what you can do is, so if it's related to database, what you need to check is whether the database permissions are correct, and then on the WP config file, whether you have added the correct username, passwords, and host. So only if that's correctly set, WP-CLI would work properly.
So meanwhile, like, if anyone else have other questions, you can post them in chat. Srikanth, you had some thoughts about, you just wanted to say something around this, right?
Yeah, I mean, the presentation a lot. Thank you, Ajoy, for presentation. The way I use WP-CLI is with the eval file, right? And I do it for my regular reporting and things like that. So I was wondering if I can just show how I use it in my configuration.
Yeah, sure.
Can I share my screen for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Srikanth, can we just do this after the
please.
Q&A?
Yeah, of course.
Like
That was the only thing. Of course.
Sure. And maybe you could also propose a talk for the next session, where you can go in depth about how you are.
It's not that in depth. I don't know that much.
Okay, so a couple of more questions. So someone asked about, is it possible to activate multiple plugins at once, where you are using the plugin activate thing, right?
Yeah, of course. Let's see. WP plugin list. So currently I have Akismet and Hello. Hello is WP plugin. I'll just delete Hello. So WP plugin install WordPress. And also I can install multiple plugins from the repo as well, like Hello Dolly.
Awesome. So I think while it's installing, right? Another question is, someone asked about, is it possible to import the XML file is it possible to import the XML file through WP-CLI? I think they are referring to the WXR files that WordPress creates when you try to export things, right? So
yeah,
the
it is
about,
possible. It is possible to import files. So let's say WP. It will give you a list of things you can do. So there is import. So the imports content from a given WXR file. So if you have that file on the file system, then what you can do is WP import, and then let's try help. Okay, just give the file name and the authors. Then you can, so there is an example as well. So WP import example.xml and authors. You want to create authors. If you want, you can use the create function. So it is possible.
Perfect. The next question is, when you're trying to retrieve post using WP post command, right? Is it possible to use more than one post type?
I'm not sure about that. Let's post type. Let's try this. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, looks like it's possible. Cool. Yeah, so there's also another question. I think this is from Rajan. Basically, he's asking, are there any CLI packages for for performing some of the WooCommerce operations, like placing an order or creating a coupon code and things like that? Do you know like if WooCommerce has any WP-CLI commands?
Yeah, WooCommerce has WP-CLI commands, but I'm not sure whether it's possible to create a coupon or something.
Mm-hmm.
It has some WP-CLI commands to import and export products, tax rates and stuff. So I'm not sure whether it's. I'm not very used to the CLI for WooCommerce, but I can do a check and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Like, if you can just check out and let us know, I think that will be really good. All right, I'm just going to have one last look to make sure if there are any other commands.
So the previous question regarding activation of multiple. So it is possible to activate multiple plugins, multiple themes, delete them in multiple as well. So we just in the plugin list. So we have 2 plugins now, which is not 3 plugins which is not activated. We can actually activate them. WP plugin activate dismiss only. Or what you can, if you just want to activate everything, WP plugin activate and use the all switch, so that will activate everything. Or if you want to deactivate them, then try deactivate all. That will deactivate everything.
Okay. Cool. So there's one more question. So basically, Vijayan was asking if it's possible, like, whenever we are deleting posts, right? So is it going to move to trash or is it going to be permanently deleted?
It's moved to trash.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that's mostly all the questions that we have. There's a new question about whether it's possible to activate all except one plugin. I'm not sure if
it is currently it is not, but I have submitted a pull that will help with that feature.
Okay, that's pretty good to know. All right. Yeah, I think those are mostly the questions, and yeah, what we will do now is like possibly give access to Srikanth so that he can quickly share.
Okay.
Srikanth, I think we are almost 15 minutes over, but I think I can give you like 2 or 3 minutes.
Sure, I'll take just 2 or 3 minutes. I can share very quickly.
I think you should be able to share the screen now.
Yeah, I can.
Meanwhile, I have one question to you. Like, this is a question from me. Basically, like, I saw your aquarium behind you, and I'm a big fan of aquariums myself. I have like 4 fish tanks in my home.
Okay.
Just quickly, like, what are the fishes that you have there?
It's mostly tetras.
Oh, okay.
More tetras and rainbows. So I've been like, it's currently dismantled. So it was a beautiful aquascape. Since COVID, I'm not able to get the stuff, so it's currently being dismantled, and I'll be setting up a new one soon.
Yep.
I think last week somebody said they were training dogs, and this week we have aquariums. I don't know what's going to happen next week. Yeah. Anyways, very quickly, guys, I use WP-CLI for my daily MIS and daily status checks. If you look at this email, this is a scheduled email that I get. Can you see my email?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a daily prime investor MIS, right? and there's a daily morning 8:30 email that I get to give me the status of what happened the previous day. This is not activating plugin, installing core or anything like that. This is just a very mundane job that I need to run on a daily basis in MIS from my database. And what I do is, this is a simple file that I have, daily mis.php, right? This is a file that this is a PHP file that can be run using WP-CLI at an appointed time using cron job scheduler. And this just, as you can see here, if you can see my terminal here, you'll see that, I'm getting data for, I'm running one single function with multiple inputs, and I'm creating a body, and I'm sending this email. And if you look at this, and I'm invoking it using this particular cron tab entry, as you can see here. If you can look at the highlighted text here, it's user local bin WP, and I give it the path of the root of my WordPress installation, and this is the command that I give, eval file, and the actual script that needs to be evaluated as a file. I mean, this is kind of I don't know why they have it eval file, but WordPress initializes the entire WordPress environment, gives me access to WPDB. As you can see, I'm running it through WPDB here, although this is a pure standalone program. So I can write a standalone PHP file and get it evaluated as an eval file, and inside the WP container of that particular site, get an output and get it emailed to myself, or whatever email list that I have. So I have a couple of these things. I have this, and I have another a PHP file that I just use to make sure that everything is okay with my system and my daily MIS. How many subscribers I got yesterday? How many registered users I got yesterday? And what's my month to date and all that stuff. So WP-CLI is very, very flexible with this extension, because it doesn't just let you work with like plugins and themes and things like that, database and things like that. It lets you execute arbitrary commands, arbitrary database queries, and you can generate files, you can generate emails, and so on. So this is a very powerful feature that I use to get my site status on a daily basis. That's all I wanted to show. Thank you.
Thanks, Srikanth. I think this is a nice overview of showcasing some of your work here, and I think that kind of goes in with whatever with the session that we just had. All right. So yeah, I know that we are very over. We're almost 20 minutes over this time, but thanks again. Thanks for taking time and giving this session. It was really helpful, and I'm pretty sure it would have been helpful to others as well. And thanks, Srikanth, for
thank you.
quickly showing what you're trying to do. Awesome. And